Hey guys, I need to make sure that you can in fact hear me. So I got all this set up. I need somebody to text or call me and tell me what's going on. Oh, because I'm gonna get Kristen here in a second and get started. So can somebody text or message me and let me know that we are in fact live? I just want to make sure that the stream did go through.
Where would you be live at? On your Insiders Club?
It's right on your face, right there.
Well, I know, but I meant like...
It's on YouTube.
Oh.
It's unlisted. Just come lay down.
Okay.
Or come sit down. You're never gonna find that.
I was gonna help.
Help? Oh God.
Shut up.
No, there's too many moving pieces.
Four?
There's too many moving
Five?
pieces. No,
That one's
there's four. Just relax. So we're gonna work on upper back and neck tonight. I need you guys again, if you can, just message me and let me know that you are in fact receiving this. I just want to make sure that everything is streaming the way that it's supposed to, because we're going to be here for 2 hours. I don't want to have to sit through it and you can't see or hear anything. Cool. So listen, a lot of you folks are going to have problems with upper back and neck clients. I see this all the time. Students are confused about how to work on the upper back and neck. They don't like the upper back and neck work on a mat. They prefer it on a table. And it's just because it's the tools that they're used to working with. They don't have the capacity to be able to use their legs and feet in the neck and the upper back. It's a little bit of a higher skill set. And when I did intro tie, I purposefully made it low back and hip heavy. The reason is you're learning how to use your legs and feet, and without like a sensitivity of touch, it's really, really hard to be able to work on that area with any sort of assuredness that you're like using the right kind of pressure, that you're doing the thing that you think is going to help people the most. So we're going to talk about upper back and neck work on a mat. I really prefer working this way, even though a lot of people have like mixed opinions about it. I think that massage therapists are just so comfortable using their hands. I still use my hands in the upper back and neck, but I use it much less than most therapists do, and some of it, frankly, is just hands-free. This is going to mimic some of the same stuff that you're going to see on a table. It's similar movements. The difference is when you're on a lifted platform, you're using your hands and arms more. I'm doing my best to get you off of your hands and arms. That's the reason why I have that focus, like not really anti-table, but I just want to evolve beyond it. Being able to have a mat-based practice opens things up to be able to deliver pressure in different ways. When I regularly work on therapists, they just can't believe what I'm capable of doing. And half the time, because you're pressing on their neck, they're kind of like turning their head, trying to look back to see what you're doing. They can't tell what I'm using to press with. They know that they've never felt pressure that way before, but 90% of the clients that you see that are having problems in upper back and neck pain are really having problems with a sort of like thoracic kyphosis. They're essentially collapsing through the chest. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to use this work to unwind that. I don't go into great detail about that with clients. They just want to feel better. They don't care how I fix the car. They just care that the car, in fact, is repaired. So I'm going to start off like I usually would, and I wanted to use Kristen for this specifically because she has more upper back and neck issues, so she gets to receive twice. When you're with your partner after this initial sequence, or when I'm talking, we're going to go right into the work. We're going to give for about an hour, and then we're going to flip, and then the other person is going to receive. Hopefully you're working with somebody to do that. If you're watching this after the fact, if you're watching this as a recording, you can still follow the same thing. But I think you're going to get a lot more out of it due to the fact that it's interactive. Now, I have my Bluetooth on and my phone here. If you want to text or call me on whatever platform, feel free. I do have my phone silenced, so if I don't catch it or whatever, I'll try to get to it when I can. The first order of business when I work with people with upper back and neck pain is I'll just ask them, Kristen, you have upper back and neck pain?
Yes.
Where do you have upper back and neck pain?
Just my entire neck. It starts the occipitals and, wraps all the way around.
Yeah. So just generally up through here.
Yes.
And then do you have any problems like in this area?
Yes.
Because the clients will always press in here. And the thing is, what I tend to do when I'm doing a verbal intake with the client is I'll say, listen, are you having problems? Are you having problems with this specifically? Is it like this up here?
That's part of it, but it's mainly occipitals.
And then it goes up into the neck. Okay. So she knew the word occipitals. Clients would know that. They just say like right at the base of my skull or whatever. All I want to do is just touch the area so that she feels heard. She just wants to know that I'm in fact going to address what she came in for. And how would you feel if I started working on your feet?
Yeah.
I,
that's nice, but my neck is killing me.
I don't work with zeal.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is say, listen, since that's the biggest problem, that's what I want to address first. It's the first thing that I want to work on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little pillow for her. I really like these blankets. If you have another kind of pillow, that's fine. I'm going to fold this guy in half and then probably fold it in half again. Right where Kristen is sitting, I'm going to put the pillow down. And then can you lay on your side, I think facing this way? Does your left side bother you more than the right?
It's pretty equal. Pretty
equal? Okay. And when I'm going to work on both sides, okay? So I'm going to get her laying down. I want her head and neck to be at neutral. I don't want her head to be completely craned over. That's important. If she is turned to one side or the other, that's probably going to be annoying for her. Like, how would that feel to you?
Right now?
I mean, you're neutral now, but if you were craned over.
Oh, it wouldn't feel good.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take this other blanket and roll this guy up to make a bolster for her leg and hip. I'm gonna put this right up against her and then roll her over. That's just gonna give her a little bit of cushion and support so she can let go. And then slowly what's gonna happen is I'm gonna come around and I am going to start working on her. Now, it wouldn't be wrong necessarily to work on the feet or work on something, but at the same time, I think you need to address what the clients have come in for. So I'm going to scoot up right next to her here, and I can reach underneath her arm and around her shoulder to get a grip. And then slowly what's going to happen here is I'm just going to mobilize her shoulder blade. And then slowly I'm going to lean back and start to pull her open. This is lengthening levator scapula. It's lengthening the neck muscles, particularly scalenus medius. And I'm able to grab with the second hand over the first and start to pull her open. How's it feel, Kristen?
Great.
So did you have like a horrible time finding it?
What? Here?
Yeah.
No, not horrible.
Or you did better than last time?
Better than last time.
I was just like, oh my God.
Rush hour.
Oh my God.
We're back to rush hour.
Where is she? Rush hour?
Yeah, dude.
Forget these awesome nights.
I was like, what?
So what I'm doing is I'm mobilizing her shoulder blade. I'm trying to get a feel for whatever is going on there so that I can see where there's a mobility restriction. And if you guys are watching, listen, please work on each other as I do this. You're going to replicate some of what I'm doing. The other thing is the person that you're working on. So one, I apologize to Kristen for being irritated because she was a little bit late. I'm just nervous because of all the live stream stuff. It didn't have anything to do with her being late.
Sorry.
Oh no, normally if we're doing a regular video shoot, it wouldn't even matter. I was just like this, I was freaking out, but it's just because there's so many pieces that are moving at the same time that I get a little anxious. So you're going to have to get feedback from the person. If I use too much pressure, Kristen needs to tell me. You're going to get the absolute most out of this class, either recording or what we're doing live, if they give you feedback on what it feels like. When you lean back, and I'm going to show you this from a different angle, if you lean straight back towards their feet, where do you feel that, Kristen?
My neck.
Okay. And when you feel it in your neck, is it kind of down through the center?
More down through here.
More up through here?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if I lean back and pull you posterior, what do you feel that?
My SCM.
More SCM.
Pec.
I'm just using mobilization and letting her hang out. It's just changing the position of what she feels. So what I'm going to do is I don't know where to press, right? I'm going to lean in and then kind of move her around to see if I can feel for a movement restriction. Do you like that right there the best? Yeah. And then I'm going to gently put her back down. I'm going to jostle the shoulder, get this to let go. I'm going to do this again. So yeah, 5 minutes late is the least of my worries. And apparently we're not lagging because people are communicating with me.
That's awesome.
So what I'm trying to do is find a movement restriction. And go, listen, you still prefer when it's almost like 45 degrees back like this? Okay, right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my chest and roll my shoulder blades back and down. I'm going to let my head go back just to open my chest and realize that Donald Trump couldn't call out racists during his speech. All he had to do was say, I don't support racists. And he's like, Antifa. Oh my God. What is going on with this place? So as we go, I'm just slowly, you've seen how I've repeated this several times. I guarantee you, if you ask the person you're working with for feedback, they'll give it to you. If they want more, lean back a little bit more. If they want less, just a little. Just depends on how sore they are, depends on where they feel it. How you feeling, Kristen?
Good.
Am I killing you?
No.
No? Okay.
I'm really realizing how tight my low back is as we're doing this twist, though.
What do you feel in your low back?
I just feel that it was kind of stiff as we began. I mean, it's still stiff, but, you know, bringing the movement into my lower body.
Okay.
Into my lower back.
So for me, and this is always how I alter things, I'm gonna switch it out real quick because when she tells me she feels in her low back, I want to switch out for 2 seconds. Like, Kristen, you come in with upper back and neck pain.
Yeah.
If I did what I just did, like you came in for me you didn't know me from Adam. I came in from Zeal and did that. How do you feel about your upper back and neck or how do you feel about me as a therapist now that I just did that little bit?
Oh man, you went straight to my issue. That's
exactly.
Nice.
And then she's like, oh, my low back. And I know this is an upper back class, but like, why can't we work both? And you can. I'm just going to scoot out like this. And what's going to happen is I'm going to say, listen, when I press on your sacrum right there, is that too much?
No.
Okay, that feels good?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gently going to grab here and just roll her open. Now, is that still upper back or do you got low back as well?
Both. Yeah.
Both, okay. Now, I'm just communicating with her about whatever it is she feels. You know, I don't know exactly how it's going to feel to her. Cool. You need a little bit more of that, or is that good? That's good. You didn't realize your low back was tight?
I mean, I knew it was tight. I just didn't know how tight.
Yeah. And then I'm going to bring her back up and over. I'm going to reposition some of this. I want to be able to press the ball pad of my foot along the side of her spine. You'll see I pushed her arm over there as she completely collapses after fighting Austin traffic to get over here.
Yeah.
So slowly what's going to happen is I'm going to grab her arm again so I can roll her back and open, because now I've got the arm for some resistance. I'm going to press right into the paraspinals in her lumbar spine. So now I'm above the sacrum, right there, Kristen? Mm-hmm. Now I'm pressing on her lumbar. She probably, does that feel better than the sacrum?
Yeah.
So she tells me, yeah, that feels better than the sacrum. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch real quick. Since she was having some tightness there, how's the heel?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it too sharp?
No.
Okay, what if I pull you open?
Whatever.
So there's resistance with my heel, and then I'm slowly pulling her back and open to be able to access right through there. Then I'm going to go just a little bit higher, kind of mid-back. Is it tender here as well?
No. I mean, yes, but not here.
But not near as much?
Yeah.
Okay. And if I pull you open from here?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna let her arm go for a second and grab just around her shoulder so I can roll her back and open. Good there?
Yeah.
Now I'm pressing in her back, right? But the thing is, I'm rolling her chest open. I don't tell the clients, I'm lengthening your pec. I'm lengthening your pec minor. I'm opening your chest. But fundamentally, even though I'm pressing in the back where they experience pain, that is in fact what I'm doing. I'm going to switch out for a second. I'm just going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to come down and like take her arm, and I'm just going to traction her arm down below. And you'll see that when I lift, it's getting her head and neck to lift off. How's that right there?
Very good.
Very good?
Yeah.
I'm glad our friendship is preserved.
Mm-hmm.
After 5 minutes, I'm like, oh my God, she's not gonna, oh my God.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just.
I even have I gave myself an hour between this appointment and here, but
Yeah.
I didn't map quest it because I knew it takes 12 minutes. Map quest. Who map quest anymore anyway?
So this to me feels very open. It feels very like mobile compared to when we started. And then I'm going to switch it out so that I can go ahead and apply a little bit of pressure up here. So I want you guys to watch this, and I'm going to try to figure out what camera angle I think is going to catch this the best. I'm going to bring her arm up onto her side so that I could press into her shoulder and get this to move, meaning like move back or move forward. I'm slowly going to bring my body up. And then my hope is that I'm going to be able to put my knee right at the cervicothoracic junction. Just like a lot of people, Kristen has a necklace right here. It's a really thin band, so I'm going to lift this just a little bit higher. A lot of clients will ask, should they take that off? I think that's possible, but for what I'm doing right here, we're just going to be here for a minute. You'll see how when I press down, do you like that position, Kristen?
Yeah.
And if I roll you back and open, how's that?
It's nice too.
Good. Okay. So I'm going to hold with my right hand. I'm going to stabilize with my left knee. And now this guy can move, right? I'm going to hook my right knee right at the cervicothoracic junction. How's that?
Good.
Now I've got pressure here. Is that too much?
Slightly without the arm being pushed.
Slightly without the arm. Okay. Now if I lengthen it away, that's better.
Yes.
Now I'm also distributing weight because I've got weight in my hand, weight in my knee at the same time. If I roll you back and open, is that better?
Sure.
There we go. Do you like a rocking or do you like static?
Rocking.
Rocking. You'll notice that just giving her the option, I think especially for pain relief, you're going to get more out of the sessions by doing that. There's more information and flow between you as a giver and the receiver, between client and therapist. Right in there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you need just a little bit more?
Mm-hmm.
No? We're just right there?
Between the two. Between the two.
So I'm going to, and this is just me feeling my way around. I've done this 9 million times, right? I want to move just a little bit higher towards the base of her neck. I'm still in the posterior. I'm going to change my position just a little bit. Right there. How's that? Mm-hmm. There we go. Now, that was just because I could feel tension. If you're worried that you can't see this inordinately well right at the moment, or if you're looking at my keister because of the camera angle, we're going to turn this around in just a minute. I just wanted to do this first just to open up the right side, and then we're going to flip to the left side so you can see it again from a different angle. Too much when I push? Mm-mm. There we go. Now, if I wanted to mix it up and just throw something in, I could come and just give her upper back and neck a break for a second and just maybe work on this one foot. Maybe say hello to the gluteals, whatever it is you want to kind of round out the little sequence, round out what you're doing. I think that's totally fine. It just depends on how they're responding. The main thing is I want Kristen to feel heard. Kristen, you've been getting session with Soothe, or is it Zeal or both?
Zeal.
Okay, you've been getting Zeal. And how good are they?
Horrible.
Horrible. Why are they horrible?
They don't train. They don't receive, they don't train.
So one, I don't think you care about their training specifically. I mean, you prefer they train and develop themselves.
I just want them to have skills.
You want them to address what you came in for.
Yeah.
So what would make you happy as a client? Like they come in to see you, right?
Yeah.
And then what do?
I mean, basically what's been happening is they just trace around my scapula constantly.
With their elbow.
Yeah, with their elbows or hands. It's
Yeah.
just there's no tools in their chest. It's like
Yeah.
It's like I keep noticing they have like one move and that's it. It's like,
Yeah.
Is there nothing else?
Yeah.
And that's why I want training.
Flip to the other side. So based on just what we did, and I get this feedback from you regularly because we work together so often, like how does that feel for like you came in upper back and neck?
Feels so much better already.
Feels so much better.
It's already starting to release and relax.
Yeah. And the thing is, I didn't really use a whole lot of pressure.
Yeah.
I wasn't like aggressive in any way. I didn't use like a huge amount of pressure. It was very easy on my body. That's the thing that I keep trying to convey to therapists that I think they need to continue to look at. Now I'm going to come in, I'm going to work on the other side because what I just did is essentially a thoracic extension. Okay. I took the left side, or right side, I should say. I took the right side, and what I did is like pec minor attaches at the coracoid process, goes down onto the ribs. The problem is when I'm working with a female client, is I'm in a position now where essentially if I took a client, Kristen, and you know this, but I just pointed out for the students, if I'm a male therapist working on a female client and I go right into her pecs first thing, anatomically I think that's correct, but how does she feel?
Yeah, you're like, oh God.
So what is he doing?
He moved right in there.
He is it's like, yeah.
Right
like,
in my vulnerable spot.
and you're a therapist, and like how tender would that be?
I'd be a little like on alert.
I would lengthen it first, which is essentially what we've done. I'm going to move my mic just a little bit, and I'm going to come down onto my keister. This works best for me in a seated position, but I'm going to go ahead and come in. I'm going to sit. And again, my keister is right up against her hip. So I'm going to give you an option, Kristen. If I sat like this and then grabbed, how does this feel?
I prefer when you're sitting against me.
Why?
I feel supported.
Yep. So in typical massage, there's a little bit of a concern about passive body contact. Fuck that. I said it. If anybody doesn't like that, contact me. Tell them I said fuck that with a D. So I'm going to scoot in, and what happens is there's passive body contact, but there's also a little bit of resistance, meaning when I pull her back, like it's isolating where low back is. Sometimes, I'll have my leg, I can actually move it right up against them. So it's almost like I'm rolling them, onto my thigh. Yeah. This side feels a little tighter.
Yeah.
How's that right there? Right there. There we go. So we're just rolling her back and open. And again, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to give me a call. How did we do 30 minutes? Holy moly, mother of God. Right through there? Mm-hmm. There we go. Now, I can use these fingers to like reach down around the paraspinals. I didn't do this on the other side, but again, we're going to repeat this again and again. I'm going to use these two fingers, and remember how you talked about tracing the scapula? I'm essentially going to do the same thing, but I'm not really pushing. What I'm doing is I'm pressing in and rolling her into my fingers. So I'm still mainly mobilizing the shoulder blade, but I'm reaching in right around. And if you guys have questions, please. It makes me feel. So Lupe, you'll switch partners after we go through the sequence. Somebody's going to give the whole thing, and then somebody's going to receive the whole thing, and then we'll pick up next week and do it again in a different form. That way the person can just rest and relax. And then you don't have to worry about memorizing it. Like I'm going to go over it again. It's going to be 2 times each time. So right around the paraspinals, I'm like reaching the fingers in. How's that in there?
So good.
Pretty good?
So much better than tracing.
With an elbow. Oh my God, Kristen, I think we've done it. It's working.
We finally did.
It worked. It doesn't seem to be any massive issues. Maybe some digipops we had earlier when I tested it, but otherwise it works. So just like before, I'm going to repeat what I did on the opposite side. What I'm going to wind up doing is I'm going to lengthen her arm. I'm going to bring this guy up and over and scoot out. I'm going to put my left foot right along her sacrum right here. And then I'm slowly going to roll her back and open. She even took like a big breath. I don't know if that was audible, but she took this big breath. And this is just big, broad pressure on the sacrum. This isn't like anything, you know, super firm. I've just got my foot here and rolling her back and open. Where do you feel that more? The low back or the upper?
Low back.
Low back, okay. And now I'm just reaching right along her lumbar, just like before. I'm right above the sacrum. I'm going to hook the ball pad of my foot right there. I'm going to roll her back and open. How's that?
Good.
She said good. How's the temperature? Okay?
Perfect.
If you were working on me, I figured you'd get hot.
Yeah.
But I think I was like, I should be laying down. Should be good. Kristen and I have a war about temperature. And then I moved just a little bit higher. I'm going to go up to just below where the point of the shoulder blade is. And I'm still just kind of rolling her shoulder blade up and over. Look at that face. Look at that. That's a tip from Zeal. I don't even know if Zeal allows Thai. Yeah. So again, I was rolling her back and open, and creating some space in the front. And then how does it feel on your low back?
Oh, amazing. It's
really this big, long, full body twist. That movement in particular is just, you know, like yoga, basically. You're opening all the facet joints along the spine, specifically in this case, I think more on the left side. As you're pulling the back and open, you're mobilizing all of those vertebrae, and you're pulling the chest open, that thoracic extension. You're putting them in a half back bend on one side. So I'm going to come up and use my knee again because we lengthened, we grabbed, we were leaning back, we were doing all of that. I want to come up and around, and I want to be able to put pressure right into this cervicothoracic junction. Now in Kristen's case, I feel like there's a brassiere or something right here. You have to be careful with these little plastic points. You don't want to push those in anyone's skin. Usually what I can do is just scoot those over. Women know exactly what I'm doing when I do that. And then sometimes again with the necklace, I'm just going to lift that up. That's going to create enough space for my knee to come in here. And I'm going to test. I'm going to push her arm back and open and say, hey, is that what that feels good right there?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm dying for somebody to call me and ask me a question. Just because, I mean, I know my Bluetooth works. But after I've opened this up, it feels better when I lengthen you kind of down and then back just a little bit. It's just opening up this area right here. It's creating some length right here. And again, I've lifted the brassiere over, or whatever that was for sports bra.
Sports bra.
I'm going to lift my knee right into here. And then how's the pressure, Kristen?
Good. Okay.
Is it a little easier to receive when I lengthen away that way?
Yeah.
There we go. And then a little rocking.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Now, depending on my body and how I lean, I'm going to lean my right hand in with a little twist, and then my left hand on her forearm extensors. So now there's like these 3 points of contact. I can roll this shoulder back and open. How's that?
Good.
Is it too much in the knee right there?
No, I like how you have 2 hands on you.
More body contact. More passive body contact. Generally, I find people like it. They want it. It makes things better for them. So even if it's just you, Lupe, can you message me or text me or call me and tell me that we are still live and doing good? Because I need feedback. This shit is supposed to be interactive, guys. We're going to fuck up an entire industry doing this. You ain't seen shit yet. Right there?
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
On both sides, I've been getting like weird stuff on my fingers. Like I can tell it's like nervy or something.
Tingles
Yeah.
from me doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the other side too, though. So I'll just this side.
So Lupe, you just texted that you were good. Is everything coming through? Were we lagging? Any major issues with the sound? Any information you can give me just helps me understand what's going on. I'm gonna bring my body weight up a little bit. Just feels a little, I was cramping my hip a little bit. I'm gonna create a little more space and I'm just leaning in. You can see this angle right here. So right from where the hip socket is, the acetabulum, the femur, right into that levator scapula, that cervicothoracic junction. And just like before in Kristen's case, I'm going to reach just a little bit higher right into the base of the neck. Now, her head's at neutral. If you need a little more space, you might be able to turn their head just a little bit down. And what that's doing is making sure you're in the posterior of the neck here. I'm going to come in and I'm going to be just a little bit higher than I was. So instead of down at this angle, I'm actually going down into the neck. Let me change the angle on this. Hopefully you can see this a little better. So instead of being down and over, I'm actually going into the neck here. Right there, Kristen? Mm-hmm. There we go. Is that too much?
No.
Not at all. Nice. Lupe, I'm so touched that you can hear and see me, even the F word. I can curse in multi-camera.
That's so cool.
Right there. Yes. There we go. So I felt tension, and here's the thing, like I use my legs and feet just like you guys use your hands and arms, right? So like I'm learning to use all of my body. It's gonna take time, but I could tell like there was a softening, and it was like if I leaned in just right there, it was right at her edge. It's just like asking how much pressure do you use with your forearm when you're on their paraspinals on a table? Well, you learn to apply pressure until there's a little bit of a pushback almost. And then I actually prefer to get a little bit of feedback. These are new tools, so it's very important that you work with your receiver and they give you feedback. How's that right there?
Good.
There we go. I'm going to reach again right into the forearm extensors, right with this my left hand. And I start to get just a little bit of tightness in my left hip just because of the way I have it positioned. Here in a second, I'm going to get up. I'm going to work on Kristen's feet on this side, again, just to soften that. It's a lot of intensity in this area. I'm going to put my hands, a little bit of weight on there so I can slowly release the neck. Then I'm going to come up. I'm going to go into the feet on this other side, or the foot, I should say. And I'm just giving her a quick break. We just worked on that. I just want her to feel comfortable. We don't want to beat the person up as they're receiving. So Kristen, just on your own, and like this is pretty improvisational, I have a general idea of what I'm going to be doing. If you had to choose, like what would we do next? Mm-hmm. What do you want more of? You need more neck stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, my favorite things are like when I'm face up and you work underneath me,
yeah,
working up. And then my other favorite thing, like my top three would be like that, or when you're doing the shin underneath the occiput, or points around like the shaft of my neck.
Yeah.
I should say.
So I'm going to leave her in side lying. We're going to do what she just talked about, where you're over my feet, probably next time or the third class. For this one, I'm going to keep her in side lying. I want to go a little bit more into the neck. The knee is a big broad tool. I want to be able to come down and in, and want to be able to access all of this good stuff in here. And in her case, again, I'm gonna lift the shirt here. I'm gonna pull this back just to make sure I got space. I want to pull her hair. I'm gonna lift this down initially, or I say down, but it's up. What I'm trying to do is be able to put pressure with my forearm right into her neck. So her head is turned down, which means I'm pressing in the posterior. The carotid artery is up here. We are in the posterior back here, and this is where I want to put pressure. Kristen, because she's like me, she's had like cervical trauma, she had a whiplash. She and I could work on this shit forever. Like, we'll never not like receiving this, because these muscles go kind of haywire when somebody has like some sort of trauma like that. So I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna sit. I wanna sit in a way that's comfortable to me, and I'm gonna pull myself forward. I want to be able to sit, I think, in my case, with my hand being receptive, and I want to be able to put pressure right into the posterior cervical spine towards C6, C7, towards the base, and I'm going to be pressing down and over this direction. Again, the reason we change camera angles like this is I want you to be able to see it. I want you to be able to get like a good visual detail of what we're doing. And if there's something that you don't understand or you can't quite see, please feel free to call me or text. I'll answer you. I'm going to come up and forward here. I'm going to have this receptive hand. I'm going to bring my forearm and elbow. I'm actually going to pull her shoulder down. How's that right there?
Good.
Is that where you want me?
Sure.
Okay. Let me try this again. Different angles. How's that? She gave me the universal groan. So I'm down and in right there. So I'm leaning in with a big broad portion of my ulna, not just the point of my elbow. So from here, Kristen, do you prefer that I press up or that I go down?
Up.
Up. So what if I go up to right there? How's that? Okay. Do you want me more forward or more back?
Back.
Okay, more to the posterior. How's that right there?
Good.
Nice. Do you prefer that I just hold that spot kind of static?
Yes.
Okay. Any referred pain?
No.
No. Okay. Do you prefer if I start to go up a little more?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. On most people, I can do like 3 spots: the base, the middle, and the top towards the occiput. I'm kind of gliding just a little bit up. I'm going to take her necklace down this time. And again, I'm still in the posterior. I'm still going to have that receptive hand. I'm putting, oh yeah, right in there. How's that? Is that too much? Okay. Now I'm just gently leaning in. Now again, do you prefer pressure kind of down or up?
Up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So up that direction?
Yeah.
There you go. So I'm just leaning in right here. And even her, it's like kind of confusing. Sometimes you'll have like multiple points of contact. Don't be confused about the verbal communication component. It's really important. How do you find, so you've been working with me over a year.
Yeah.
How do you find the communication has changed with your clients?
We are communicating.
Okay.
They went from being quiet to trying to get feedback and them telling me, oh, that's what works. Those twists, that makes it feel better. Like they're just now actively like telling me things instead of like waiting for me to initiate the conversation.
Yeah. So has the pain relief been better?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to find what you're trying to find if you got feedback.
Yep. And I'm doing my best to just prop myself so that I'm just completely relaxed if I can. I listen to a wide range of music. If the clients try to tell me not to listen to stuff, I fire them. Like, I'm very picky about that. I'm always trying to do two things. You make it as effective as possible for chronic pain, and you make it as easy on your body as you possibly can. I can easily do this for 6 hours a day because I'm mostly just sitting and hanging out. I'm just like stacking body weight. I'm right there, Kristen. If I lean just a little bit that way, is that good?
Sure.
Okay. No more pressure, no more point.
I mean, whatever. Definitely don't need any more pressure.
Okay.
Happy.
And if I lean just a little bit more, right there, how's that?
That's good.
Okay. A little more pointy?
No.
Doesn't feel pointy? Okay.
No.
I'm going to change it just a little bit. How about that?
Yeah.
There we go. So you'll see what I did is I had this hand down. What I'm doing is I'm changing the angle that the ulna was at. When I lift it over my hand, I've got a slightly different angle. But I can feel some of her muscle let go, and I'm just adjusting where I'm putting pressure to be able to address that. So based on what you've had, let's talk about upper back and neck work, like on a mat. You've had my work. I work with you. We're starting to do, or we're going to do very soon, like start doing full sessions. Just as a refresher to remember what the whole thing is like when it's put together. Would you prefer neck work on a table or on a mat?
Mat.
Why?
Because there's just so much more you can do with my neck, and just not having like this kind of stuff. I've even tried to do it on my my hydraulic table, and it's just really, really hard to do it on the table. You can do it with your elbow, but I prefer to use my knee, you know, with the shoulder stuff. With this, I do use my elbow, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is okay on the table, but it's just so much better on the mat. So much easier on my body to not be on the table.
Yeah.
And even my clients have told me, they're like, I prefer being on the mat. They're like, I feel more safe.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to worry about being off the edges of it or whatever.
So I'm going to back off for a second. I'm going to go right into the top, which is like point number 3 on the neck. I don't normally break it down, I think, exactly that way. But generally speaking, I can hit a base spot, a center spot, and then a spot that's up near the top of the occiput. Like right across, right in here. I'm trying to find the flesh right there, and it's the same basic body position. I'm going to scoot back just a little bit. I got that receptive hand under my thigh, and I'm going to bring this in right in, what do you think, right there?
Yeah.
And a little bit up.
Yeah.
That direction?
Uh-huh.
So you tell me, more or just good right there?
Good.
Okay. So for some reason, the way I'm turned, like I feel like this kind of weird torque on my shoulder. So again, it's like I can apply pressure, and that was good for her. But when I checked in, I'm like, yo, what's the, like it feels kind of off somehow. So I'm gonna shift my body because I'm trying to figure out how to make it so that I can deliver that pressure without, not harming myself, but I want to make myself, there we go, more comfortable. So I brought my arm on top. How's that right there?
Yeah, back off slightly.
Back, okay, is that better right there?
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. You can see, and I'm going to give you just very briefly, Chris, I'm going to give you too much pressure. I lean in right here. Is it too much?
Yeah.
Okay. I back off to right here. How's that?
Uh-huh.
Now, that is why I need multi-cameras to live stream. That is the smallest amount of nuance. If you were looking at my arm, it's not even visible what I was doing, like the difference in my body height and like how I was stacking. So right there, if I go to the back or to the front?
Back.
Okay, more to the back, right there. Now, a little bit up. No, just right there.
Yeah.
Okay, not too sharp?
No.
Okay. Now, I used verbal communication to be able to get that out of her. I think that a lot of people get concerned because they think that the clients, they just want to relax, they don't want to communicate. The problem is you're going to have to guess about where they're holding tension. Once I know Kristen's spots and I've taught her to communicate very openly, I can do this. If I did regular sessions with her, she can literally take my arm and like put it in position and go right here. That's where I want pressure. Because we've done this so many times, she's communicating at a much higher level than people normally do. Am I killing you, Kristen, or are you good?
No, yeah, I'm good.
You drooling?
Yeah.
A little bit. So I'm going to back off slow. Those deep compressions in particular, if you take your time to back off of that, I think they're going to feel just a little bit better. And then, Kristen, can you flip sides for me? Just turn over. I'm going to go right into the neck. Same basic concept, just on the opposite side. She's putting herself in position, but if I had to do it for her, it would be completely fine. I'm going to come down. Oh. And just like before, I'm just coming in so I can place pressure. Before, when we had the knee, it was down and over, right? Now we're really going down into the posterior cervical spine. Even when I just pressed there, she made like a little groan, right? Just because it's tender right there. I'm going to come in, and what do we have? Remember, we got the receptive hand here. I'm stacking, and I need to change my body position just so I can come in right there. Let me see if we can catch this. There we go.
It's crazy, like I drink the high caffeinated drink on the way.
Yeah.
But it's like when you get into this next step, it's like you turn the off button.
Yeah.
Or it's like the reset button, like so I'm really have to work to like keep myself with it.
People can be very mentally alert, but like deeply physically relaxed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that good right there, or do you need like a little more up?
Oh, it's freaking awesome.
Okay. Now, when I do that, do you prefer if I kind of go back and forth? How's that?
That's pretty cool.
There we go. So I just made something up, is what I call it. I'm just leaning back and forth, just gently changing the angle and vector of pressure, just to see how she responded to that. Not too much? Okay. And again, you always want to be comfortable and relaxed. I lifted this hip up just because that felt good to me, to be able to sit just like this. Doesn't feel like I'm beating you up?
No, it's
Okay.
great. I prefer to work like this because I don't like when people use their hands on my neck. 'Cause my neck is so jacked that I feel like I'm thinking about my therapist. I'm like, oh man, their fingers are getting so messed up right now,
Yeah.
But with this, I'm like, oh, it's such a great big tool.
Why do therapists not use their forearms and like elbows in the neck more often?
Schools mistreat. They've taught them to not.
Yeah.
They've told them it's bad.
So I'm gently gonna lean off. I'm gonna go to the second spot. I'm gonna give her just a break, just for a second, just to kind of get her composure. That way she can just kind of unwind for a second before I go back in. It can be a lot of intensity. It's why I have a tendency to like back off and do some lengthening before going in and putting like more pressure. She just took like a couple deep breaths just naturally on her own. And then I'm going to go back in at the center. Her head is turned just a little bit up. if she repositioned herself, I'm gonna bring her just a little bit forward and just a little bit down. I just wanna expose this posterior part of the neck right here. And then slowly, I'm gonna come in again, middle point, kind of right in the center. Right, holy moly, how's that? There we go. Now, no more pressure than that? Okay. And is it a little bit better if I'm angling up or angling down?
All of it.
All of it, okay. What if I go back and forth?
Yeah.
Okay. So giving them a quick option for what they think feels best, my sense of it is the client always feels heard. Like I'm really searching, trying to find out what the issue is to be able to make their session as good as possible. Now, more to the back, more to the front. More to the posterior. Right there?
Yeah.
There we go. It's almost like I've just grabbed skin and I'm just pulling it back behind. I'm pulling it posterior. Well, Lupe, and nobody else is communicating, but apparently this is coming through well. She even sent me a screenshot of like her putting on her big screen to work with us.
How many people are live streaming right now?
I have no idea. I'd have to go over to the equipment and check it out. Here in about 10-ish minutes, something like that, we're going to trade out. So we're essentially going to repeat some of what we just did. Because I'm working on Kristen a second time, I'm going to add a little bit of nuance, a little bit of depth. It'll be some of the same stuff, but I'm sure she will hate receiving for another hour. Now, this is the demo, like when we finish in 5-10 minutes. Is this better than what you're getting with Zeal?
Yeah, 1,000 times.
And that's what I find like so weird, is this is like not even work.
Exactly.
Like I refined this and refined it and refined it to make it as easy as possible. I'm gonna lean just a little bit up. How's that right there? And then still to the back. There we go. Now, when I was done with this, by the way, if I wanted to go in and I wanted to use my fingers on little specific neck muscles, awesome. But we're gonna bust up concrete with our forearm and a knee. Then we're going to go in and do a little spot work with these tools that are designed for that. Yeah. And slowly I'm going to release. I'm going to go back up into the occiput, go back up to the top where she's going to want pressure. I'm going to deal with my phone here, moving stuff around. And again, just going to give her just a quick second to just let that go. Don't want her to be, stressed about the pressure we were applying. It can be very intense. Like you can feel kind of stuck when somebody's pressing on your neck, I think. So again, right at the occiput, her head is already at neutral and she's just a little bit forward, which is creating a little more length for me to get in right here. And then I'm going to come in right to the base of the skull. Right in there, Kristen? There we go. Did you make a lot of wrong turns when you were coming into the complex or anything?
No,
oh, okay.
I didn't listen to it.
Okay.
It tries to take you the long way, and I don't know why.
Yeah, the problem is it's the complex, like the way it's structured. That's what I can't figure out with the GPS. So right into the base of the skull, is it still to the back? Okay, right there. And is it a little bit up? There we go. Now, your ulna might be sharper than mine. It might be broader than mine. You might hang out in the forearm flexors more than me. It depends on the person you're working on, and it depends on the kind of pressure that they can receive. You have to do something that feels good to the person you're working on. You have to be able to do it in a way that allows them to receive easily. When we would do the Thai massage jams here in Austin, if like therapists had problems with the upper back and neck, I would do this stuff and just hang out for an hour. For free, by the way, just give it away. It was so easy to do. The Thai massage jam wasn't really work. It was just like hanging out with my friends and listening to whatever music, and like this combination event between like, is it body work? Is it education? It's like, no, it's a community body work event. Right there, Kristen. There we go. A little more to the back, or a little bit more to the front.
Yeah.
There we go. A little more up. There we go. I was trying to figure it out, like anxiety wise, why does this give me anxiety? And I think it's the tech. It has nothing to do with the teaching. It has nothing to do with the body work. It has to do with like dealing with the software and all the cameras simultaneously.
Yeah, I've never heard that anxiety in your voice before.
Right there. No, it was short-lived. If that's the worst I have today, we're good. Now, a little more to the back, a little more to the front again.
Whatever.
A little bit up, or a little bit down. Neither?
I like up, I think.
Right there?
Uh-huh.
There we go.
Oh, yeah, good.
Yeah, Lupe, I hope that it's all coming through clear. Let's put it this way. If it's doing what I think it's doing, which is based on the test earlier, this is going to completely change massage education. I'm not going to stop doing this. If anything, I'm going to be teaching you guys more rapidly, more quickly, faster, at a lower price point than anybody else. I think it's going to completely revolutionize the industry. And the difference is, like, I'm just in my studio. Like, it's very inexpensive for me to be able to put out information this way, to be able to work with people. So I'm slowly going to back off here. I'm going to take a little bit of the pressure off, and then I want to come up and work on Kristen's feet again, just to, you know, make her feel nice from the stuff we just did. And she's wiped out. I can see it in her face.
Yeah.
She's just wiped out.
I feel like dying from neck work. It's like the last Zeal I ordered, they claimed she was deep tissue, and I'm like, because you can't even get a sports therapist, which would be like the closest thing to Thai.
Yeah.
Can't even get that. So then I tried to order deep tissue. She was Swedish. The guy before, like after tracing around my shoulder constantly, he's like, "Can I work your hips?" I'm like, "No, my neck, my pecs, my SCM, no."
So the work we just did is upper back and neck. It's a little general. And when I say general, like, I don't mean it lacks specificity. We were using bigger, broader tools. How many times did I use my hands? Once, and that was just to like press around the shoulder blade. Like, we just taught for an hour and I barely even used my hands. And that's the thing. Once you have a broader tool set, it doesn't make sense to continue using your hands in the exact same way.
It's really nice that you're like bringing the feet in, because like everyone's feet need a little love.
Yeah.
But it's like, it was really great that you like went right to the problem area, and then you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna touch down here because I know you probably hurt me." It's like, oh, melted.
Yeah. So or I say real quick, but take your time, Kristen. I want you to sit up, and then I want you to look at the camera, which is this guy up here. And I just want you to like, you know, move your arms and neck around, just like see how you feel when you sit.
Oh, my neck just adjusted.
Yeah. Or actually, you know what? Let's do it to this other camera, this guy right here. Okay. I just want to see how you feel.
Definitely so much more open.
So it's like 50 minutes, give or take. It just, I don't feel like I did anything.
Yeah.
Like it just wasn't, it's just not much work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what do you feel like compared to when you...
I feel like my scalenes and SCM are tight.
Okay.
You know, but like everything on the backside, it's like I just feel so open and like warm and like addressed.
Yeah. Because we didn't address the SCM. We didn't go into the scalenes. Normally that would be part of a neck treatment. We'll probably go into that in like the second and third class. I just wanted to get like some quick feedback. When you came in, I didn't ask you this, like on a pain scale, normally I'll tell people like 0 is no pain, 10 is the hospital. What were you at when you came in?
Probably like 6, 7.
6, what are you at now?
I feel like a 5.
5. 2 points on a pain scale, real broad, you know, and she was stressed out. She was stressed out getting here. I was stressed out, like, are we getting started? Very, very common. I want you guys to go ahead and trade out. Go ahead and switch. If you need a quick bathroom break, please do so. I just want to check our stream just to see how many people might be listening in and see if I can get any information on that. Yeah, looks like we got 7 people on viewing with us. If you guys have any questions at all, please just feel free to text or call me so that we can, you know, chat real quick, even if you just want to say hello. I keep working on this because I want to make these as interactive as possible. You're going to get much more out of these the more you communicate with me and the more you're able to ask questions live. I think that the way we've got the cameras and everything set up is pretty thorough, but it does give you like some new options to be able to ask questions, to be able to get information quickly. And this camera setup over time is going to open things up in like a million different ways. It just allows a level of information flow that I just didn't have prior. And it's also reduced my costs because I'm not paying any outside like video producers. I'm able to do it myself with software. Awesome. So you want to receive again? Okay.
No.
So you tell me, in this case, you guys at home, you guys are going to switch out. What side do you want to receive on first?
No cares.
No cares? Okay, just come lay down. We'll work on it. I just gave her the option because I figured she might have a side that was more, you know, tender, problematic.
No. And they're both, this one's tight. I mean, they're both tight. Doesn't matter. You just do this. Mm-hmm. Just do this.
And then she's just bolstered herself. Again, one of the reasons I like these blankets is because they are customized bolsters. It allows me to take it and shape it to the size that would fit her body. That's why I'm very adamant about these blankets in particular. So I'm gonna come back around. We're gonna open up, in this case, it's her right arm. So I'm gonna come in and I'm going to sit. Now, what if I had a really big client? Huge, like twice as wide as Kristen. Well, if they were up here, I might not be able to grab like this. I might be on my knees. I might be up like this because it would lift my center of gravity. For her, this is not necessary. I talked to another educator recently, and they were saying they took a class with someone, and they were complaining about the fact that they sat down, and the person's like, "No, you gotta kneel, tie." Like this is considered kind of rude.
Well, if you're Thai, maybe.
Well, my point exactly. But you study with me. We've already tainted you with the evil. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna scoot my keister up next to hers, and I'm gonna reach under right here. Again, I have her arm draped over me. It means I can lean back and start to pull this open. She's going to be a little more open because since I'm working on her the second time. But I want you to take it easy and slow and just kind of feel through here. I'll give you a little more nuance since this is the second time going through it. I'm using her weight to traction my arms and shoulders. I'm mobilizing my shoulder blades and my thoracic spine. I'm like leaning back. I can feel like a pull on this shoulder. It almost wants to adjust. How's that?
Good.
And then fingers. Now, if I wanted to reach into supraspinatus, if I wanted to reach into levator scapula, if I wanted to reach into the rhomboids, and I was like, ooh, right there. Ooh, right there. And I'm going to roll her into my fingers. Roll her into my fingers. Roll her into my fingers, right? Oh, 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 oh. It's awesome because I got filters on the audio, so hopefully my F-bombs come through crystalline clear. They have this crystalline quality of audio. Yes. Right through there. And I'm going to take a break from all that rocking. I'm going to lean back. You can see that her head and neck lift up and over. You still get that pull through the neck there. Kind of like her scalenes, right?
Yeah.
Ah, thank you for coming today, by the way.
Oh, thank you for having me. The thing I love about this move is like how much I feel it, like it's stretching my QL, it's stretching like my rhomboid, it's stretching my pec. Like there's just so much that's being like worked or like addressed in that one move.
What I find when I teach is the students only think I'm only working where I touch.
No. That's table work.
This is infraspinatus, this is levator scap. So when they see this, they're like, I don't understand, what's he working on? Yeah. So to give her a little bit more heft, because this is the second time I'm doing this to her, I'm gonna bring my thigh over. I'm really gonna hug my leg back and into her, so I can roll her up and over my leg. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll notice, am I pulling with my arms or am I lengthening and leaning? Less work, more body weight. Oh, Kristen, you know how you get those weird texts from the creepy guys?
Yeah.
I had my own.
Yay!
Because I changed my address. You're gonna love this. So I'm gonna take all the screenshots and I got to figure this out. I'm gonna put it together in a video.
Oh, yay!
And then I'm gonna get women in the massage industry to send me their creepy texts, so that I can do like a video that's commentary on all of them. Yeah. Now we're talking. That's social media for massage therapists right there.
Yep.
There. How's that?
Good.
So I'm gonna take a variant on this. Feel free to mimic this. You know, this is the second time I've gone through it with Kristen. I don't want you to feel like I'm just giving you a strict routine. Like there's a lot of different options for stuff that you can do. So I'm gonna hop out right here, and I'm gonna put my foot again right at her sacrum. And I'm going to roll her back and open. And she completely rolled off of the pillow there, which I don't even remotely mind, by the way. You like that movement?
Yeah.
So she's a little more open than she was the first time. I'm gonna introduce a variable. You'll hear me talk about this increasingly, especially as we teach like this. Primary position, secondary options, tertiary options. What if I bend her elbow? I want to come up right to the shoulder blade right here. How's that?
Mm-hmm.
She says, right there.
I love you using this blanket as a pillow.
So I'm gonna bring her down. I want to grab right at the shoulder right here. How's that?
Yeah.
How's the rocking?
Good.
Good.
Oh.
just little variants on a theme. Once you start playing, and this is where the sequence, you have to learn it and then break it. You gotta learn the roads, and then you gotta veer off into the ditch every once in a while. Right in there. You know, start off like Neil Young and then take lots of hallucinogens and just Jimi Hendrix your way out of there, you know what I'm saying? After the gold rush. Oh. Crazy Horse. Oh. I think Neil Young just became a U.S. citizen. Did you hear that? Yeah. So what I was doing is taking a little bit of strain off of her deltoids, because when I pull her arm back this way, it's putting a little pressure here. I was able to grab into her forearm extensors and then just kind of get a deeper pull into here to be able to open the chest. So I'm going to bring my foot back up right along the sacrum, roll that guy back and open. Now, if I want, can I hook my toes right along the thoracic paraspinals, right in there. How's that, Kristen? What happens if I roll you back this way? Pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to reach forward. How's that? There we go. So as I do that, my toes are curled down. It felt like a little bit much. I'm going to change my position just because I don't want to hurt my feet. I don't want to put them in a position that feels like it's causing a problem. There we go. Too much?
No.
Not too deep?
Oh, no, we're just getting party started.
So she's pretty open right there. I'm going to switch it out where I'm going to bring the knee right into the levator scapula, upper back and neck area. We're going to try to do this so you can see this. Probably from this angle is going to work the best. Again, if you guys have any questions, I got my Bluetooth on, you could call me. Nobody's going to hear you, but you can absolutely ask me questions. I'm going to lengthen this guy down and away. How's that?
Yeah.
There we go. And in her case, since this is the second time, it's probably going to have a little bit more depth. I might be just a little bit more pointed. I'm going to be able to kind of feel my way around with my knee. How's that? There we go. Not too much?
No.
Okay. Now, if I take the arms off, you don't like that as much.
No.
So what's the difference?
It's just like your knee goes deep in there, and it's just, I got a boulder in my shoulder.
Okay. It just feels like it's a little more easier to receive this way.
Yeah.
Okay. I hadn't figured out how to, let's see, I can't, no, I got to disengage to grab my keyboard over here. Oh, get my photo off. I was trying to take pictures while we're doing this. Right in there.
Yeah.
And a little more to the back.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. So I'm not really moving my knee. What I'm doing is I'm rolling her shoulder blade. I'm rolling the arm, the humerus, the shoulder back and open. Trying to figure out what angle is going to give this to you the best. We're going to continue working with the cameras to be able to give you what you need. Right in there. So, do you feel like you need more pressure, or do you want more like length?
Length, I guess.
Okay. So I'm gonna change it up for a second. I'm gonna take the pressure off there, and I was just asking her for feedback. Okay. I can always change it up. Don't feel like you're stuck in one spot. You can always get up, move around. You know, try something a little bit different. Making sure my wire is over here. It's getting lost. Wrapped around anyway. I'm going to come down here and lengthen and pull kind of on the same area, but this is more the length and traction, right? How's that, Kristen?
Great.
Good.
You know what my client told me today?
What?
It was his like first tie session with me, but it was like he's had mat work before. He said I was a rooney massage for him.
Why?
Because he said you can't get it anywhere else that I did.
Yep. How much you pay you for the session?
$160. I only did a 2 hour because he says next time he'll do 3. I was like, yeah, we just need more time. I know this stuff's deep. You gotta let me work, give you more time.
Good. I'm totally accepting of you being 5 minutes late because you give me that great feedback.
Yay!
Because
I'm gonna be 15 minutes early next time. I didn't realize we were back to like pre-Rona traffic. I thought we were still in the Rona traffic.
Well, but the thing is, you're like me. You have a home studio, so you probably also just don't get out in a lot.
No, I don't.
I mean, I don't either. Like when I talk to people, they're always like taken aback or whatever. I'm gonna come back in for just a second. I want to do this for another pass. I don't even know exactly why I decided to do this, but I wanted to feel this again. There we go. This shoulder, I can't explain how much more open this feels than when we started. And of course, this is a second pass.
So much more open. But
Yeah.
also my like low back's not holding me back anymore either.
You were kind of tensing up
Oh, it
before.
was so tight.
Yeah. So the feedback that you give them like that, Kristen, that is what's golden, because I can tell the therapist, but I think there's something getting lost in translation. It's like it's too much of me, and it's like a statistical anomaly as opposed to something that anyone can do, you know, if they pick it up and learn it. Like I'll continue teaching it and continue refining it, but it does feel sometimes like therapists, like they don't believe it, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go into the base. Now I'm trying to remember that I'm generally repeating the sequence that we did earlier. I might have worked on the other side first, but I'm going to switch it up just a little bit. Like, did I flip you over, do the other side, then go into the neck on both sides?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I might have, but we're gonna flip it up this time. Switch it up. So I'm gonna bring this guy just a little bit up, and again, I'm just gonna stack body weight. Now I'm gonna change it just a little bit this time. I want to try this from a slightly different angle. Before I was seated like this, so it's like I'm seated and I'm coming in right here. I want to go ahead and change this, and I wanted to go from the other side. I just want to try it for a second and see, is this going to provide something that's a little more interesting to her, maybe something just a little bit different. Just because of the change in my body position, it's the same basic movement, but I'm addressing it in a different angle. So it's probably going to change, I think, how it feels just a little bit. I'm going to bring the necklace up and over. Now, just like I just had the knee was more like levator scap, this is more posterior cervical spine. I just lifted the necklace to make sure it was out of the way. And then again, I've got that passive hand, but now I'm facing the opposite direction. How's that, Kristen?
Yeah.
Is that too deep? Okay. Do you want down or up?
Both good.
Okay. I'm going to go just a little bit down, right there. Posterior cervical spine. I think that angle gets it the best. I don't even know where my phone went. Is it over here somewhere? Who knows? Yep, it is. Now, more to the back, more to the front. Okay, tell me when. Right there? Okay. Now, I'm gonna hang out right here for a second, and then I wanna, what if I, a little back and forth, how's that?
I like it.
Is that preferable?
It is preferable.
It is preferable. Okay. Now, I don't have any judgment about what she says she likes. It doesn't matter to me. I don't find it to be that much more work. I'm trying to do something that feels good to her. I will tell you this. Women don't feel that men listen to them. I don't know if you've noticed this in the culture because of Me Too, but generally, like, interacting with women and actually engaging with them about what makes them feel better makes them very happy.
Yeah.
Right there. A little more to the back. There we go. I've had a lot of responses where, well, my boyfriend doesn't listen to me, or my husband doesn't listen to me. And I'm like, well, one, I'm like a therapist. You pay me to listen to you. And beyond that, I have a vested fiscal interest, not to mention emotional and psychological interest in, like, making women feel better, right? Like, life is stressful. We just had presidential debates. I don't know if any of you were stressed watching that, but I was.
Yeah.
I wanted to go up and work on Mr. Trump, work on Mr. Biden. Go, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? I have no idea what is. This is not. Please debate. So, gonna disengage, and then I'm gonna come halfway up. Remember we talked about the 3 spots on the neck. Normally I can get like a lower spot, I can get a middle spot, and I can get a top spot. And from here, I think if I scoot my keister forward just a little bit, I'm gonna be able to get into that second spot. I'm gonna take her necklace and roll this guy down just a little bit. And again, I wanna come in kind of across. I don't want my ulna facing down this way, and I don't want it facing down the opposite way. I wanna be able to come basically like straight down. So when I say straight down, I'm still over at an angle. What I meant was the pressure is generally leaning down. Right. How's that there?
Yes.
There we go. Let's try from here.
Oh, yeah,
There we go. Now, a little more down, a little more up. Tell me when. That's good? This upper back and neck work on a table and on a mat is something that I will do again and again and again. You will see it again and again, and just about the time you get sick of it is when you have mastered it. Wax on, wax off. Daniel-san, show me paint the fence. Oh, Mr. Miyagi, I painted it. And he's like, no, whole fence.
Yeah, man, it doesn't matter. Like, I do this on every single client, whether they're on the table or the mat.
Yeah.
And they're like, nobody's ever done this before. It was so good. And even the guy, like, I was so mad at myself. I spent like an hour with him face down, trying to like get his hips to let go, and then I put him on his side, and he was like, oh, I love the side work. I'm like, oh, should have done some face down.
Massage therapists spend way too much time with clients prone. Way too much time. So more to the front, more to the back. Okay, more to the front. Now, in her case, I can feel this, okay? I'm just letting you in on my thinking process as I do this. As I lean forward, I can feel myself hitting the edge of like her scalenus medius. How you feel?
Yeah.
Do you feel that?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little tightness right there.
Yeah.
So in her case, she's like me. She has cervical trauma. She had like a whiplash, right?
Uh-huh.
She has deep-seated like neck stuff. And one of the reasons I'm going to start doing full trades with her is I want to be able to do this. So, well, check this shit out. Okay. I'm going to say this, but like, this is superficial work. This isn't even really specific, even though I think it's more effective than what most massage therapists seem to be doing based on the feedback we get. Like, when the clients, what do they say when you work on them side lying in the neck?
You're just able to access so much more. And it's never been worked. Like, everything on the side has never been touched before.
Yep.
A lifetime of tension just built up.
So what I don't think I'm going to be able to do is I'm not going to be able to stay in this position and get to the occiput. The angle is wrong. It's almost like I would be leaning like back. So what I want to do is I actually want to change my position and go back to where I was previously, which is probably going to be leaning right up into her suboccipitals. She's probably going to like this the best. I'm going to come in here. Now, in my case, I could do the passive thing with my hand under. It doesn't really matter. It just depends on like how you feel. Don't feel like you just have to do it such a certain way. You're feeling your way through the tissue. Part of the reason I want you to give and receive with the person is to be able to give and receive feedback. Kristen works on me, and in the past couple months, Kristen just fucks me up. Because her work has gotten good enough that when she's like, man, I just had coffee, I'm wide awake, but like it just wipes me out.
Yeah.
It'll do, like the camera will time out. We're running the camera, it only runs at 30 minutes, and it's like, because I can't like focus because it's so intense, like on a certain area.
Yeah.
So
Crazy.
right here at the suboccipitals, I'm gonna stack myself. Right, what do you think? Right there. And in this case, I know this. You might not be able to see this on camera. It's a little bit more specific than what I did the previous time. It's just a little bit more sharp. I'm going to change my body position just to make myself comfortable. Right there. How's that? There we go. Now, does this look like hard work? Aha. Now, I get paid $240 a session for this. What do you get paid? 200 same?
Yeah, I did do one.
Tell how much is the guy we were talking about?
Oh, my regular, my 3.5 hour guy.
3.5 hours. What does he pay you?
$400.
How many times do you see him a month?
Oh man, I saw him on what did I see him? I saw him on Monday and I get to see him again on Sunday. 2 times in 1 week. No joke.
$800 from one client in a week.
He's awesome.
Now, what you just said, he's awesome. Is he untoward?
No.
Does he hit on you?
Never.
Does he flirt with you?
Not at all.
He's professional.
He gives me house advice. It's awesome.
And
he gives me
that person, and that's what I mean about ideal clients. You have no idea how much it bothers me when you and Andrea doesn't as much, but you'll send me like texts of, guys asking for sexual services or whatever. It's just frustrating as shit. So I'm gonna lean in just a little bit to the back.
Oh yeah.
There we go. And then just a little bit up.
Yeah.
Right there. Almost imperceptible. The reason that I say it verbally is I want you to be able to kind of feel the way that I was shearing to the back and then pressing up just a little bit. So it was just a little bit to the posterior and then just a little bit up towards the base of the skull, right at the occiput, right there. So you'll also notice, I think we slightly changed the flow. It was just a little bit different. I've just worked on this second time, just on this side. I think also I get into what I call fix-it mode, which is like I naturally want to break the sequences that I created because the sequences don't fit the person. Like if I was like, okay, I turned on the camera and I just documented working on Kristen. It looks different. And they're like, well, how did you decide to do this compared to last time? And it's like, well, her body was different. She responded to tension in a different way. Just like when she came in, she's like, I've never heard that anxiety in your voice before. It's like, yeah, well, we were just in a different spot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, in other words, I guess what I'm trying to say is you kind of have to learn to accept where you are at and you have to accept where the clients are at and just work towards like mutual benefit. Some days as a therapist, you have good days, Kristen?
Yeah.
Some days you have bad days?
Yeah.
What do you do on your bad days?
Drink vodka.
Drink vodka. Like a good American. I did in fact drink watching the debates.
Dude, I had ordering margaritas. You stressed me out 30 minutes in. I was like, I need 2 jumbos and some queso. Why are we yelling over each other? Oh yeah. Right
in there. Now a little bit to the back.
No, front.
No, right.
Yeah.
Right there. Now, she directed me in. She was telling me where to go. Is that what you're doing with the $400 client? Is he communicating with you like that?
Communicating with me.
Yeah. it's
I'm
like,
not doing as good as you are yet, but I'm
no.
there.
But the thing is, like, and here's the thing, like, I think there's a, like you said at one point a couple months ago, you're like, Robert, why didn't I listen to you before?
I know.
There's a thing because there's not really proof of concept. It's just some weird asshole cursing on the multicam. Like, there's not enough of it to go around for them to really understand what I'm doing sometimes.
Yeah, like I'm pretty pumped that so last week I only had one table client. Well, I was supposed to have two, but I had to leave town. But like the only table clients booked were therapists booking with me. I don't know why they booked a table, but they were.
Yeah.
This week, not a single 60-minute. I'm trying to get my clients off to 60 minutes. I don't do that shit. I don't even travel for less than 90 minutes anymore.
A little more to the front.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
Okay, a little more up. Okay, so if you've got stragglers, Kristen, are you willing to do 90 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, just give them an extra 30 minutes for free.
Yeah.
And just over time, if you don't want to do hours, which is I think what I just heard,
No.
you just glean that off of your menu.
I've already done it.
Yeah.
And like I just got hit up by this one dude for work, and I said, well, he was asking if I had any availability there tomorrow, and I was like, no, I'm fully booked. I was like, I have a 90-minute time mat session availability on Saturday, but like I wouldn't book any table work. I just won't.
So
I was like, next week if you want table work, you can get in, but I'm pretty much switched over to mat.
from here, Kristen, I'm gonna, and we've built her up to this. This is the second time she's received, so I can usually use a little more specific pressure. Do you want any more pressure?
Sure.
Do you want more point?
Sure.
Okay. You're gonna look at my hand here. I position the camera just right. I'm gonna lift.
Totally fine.
Is that too much?
Edge.
Edge. Okay. It's a little better down.
Yeah.
Right there. Now, I'm sure you guys saw just that little micro movement. I'm gonna lift just a little bit right there. Good.
Yeah.
And basically, it was like my fingers were touching the ground and I just lifted them. That was all that was happening with this hand over here, just to change the angle, leverage, pressure. One of the reasons these live streams are so important is I need you to be able to communicate with someone. The thing that I can't do is you can't feel it. Therapists will always tell me, I love in person because they get to feel it. Now, how many therapists in Austin who take classes with me come and get a full session?
None.
Ooh, why?
Because you're broke.
Ooh, ooh, I'm glad you said it.
I don't care, I'll say it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna disengage, I'm gonna lean off, and then I'm gonna just give her some time to sort of process that. That's a lot of like deep compression. And again, that's the second time I've done it, so I just want to give her a second to sort of recoup. It's not uncommon after I do that, they kind of like roll over or like, oh my God, you know, move
It
around.
just reminds me that I need to give my clients a little bit of break between, because I'm not giving.
You kind of go to the next thing.
Yeah.
But I think also you're just used to like work mode, you know.
Yeah.
I actually think they perform a little bit better when you give them just a little bit of time to just unwind.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll just ask them like, how does it feel? Does it feel more mobile? You know, I'm just looking for feedback. And then she's going to come in and lay just on the opposite side. We're going to repeat some of that again. Opposite side.
Yeah, it's pretty nice, man. Like, you know, I told Andrea, I was like, man, Robert's been right. Like, why did I wait so long to listen? Because it's like, now I don't have, you know, I used to struggle financially, you know, in the beginning of my career. And
You did?
yeah, I mean, the beginning, before I started doing that work. And then now it's like a whole other ball game, you know, now that I'm getting the clients that are willing to give themselves time and work, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're what, 5 years in now?
I just hit my anniversary,
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, 5 years, you're seasoned now.
Season.
Yeah. And then the last year, here's the thing. You're the only student, by the way. You're the only student who's studied with me the way you have.
Hell yeah.
Like there is, I mean, Andrea is now, but like you kept up with me for a year. And the reason I kept working with you is because I'd get a message from you like, hey, when are we getting together? And I'm like, oh, wow, initiative. You'd be surprised how far they get you.
I just could like, you know, in the beginning I started learning Thai because I was tired of like men wanting me to destroy them with my hands and it was hurting me.
Yeah.
And I like when I received the work in the beginning, I liked it, but I didn't like love it yet. You know, it's still like I was still addicted to having glide and BS, you know, and then I started receiving it more regularly, and then I realized like it grows on you. You're like, oh man, like it's letting go of some deep shit, and it's like I'm getting much better results from that work. And so then it also put me in a position to understand how my clients feel, and I like tell them like, you know, maybe you need to receive it honestly, because then you can tell the clients what to expect. I told him, I was like, you know, sometimes my mentor gets in my neck and I just like have to take a break. I'm like, if you feel that way, let me know. You know, sometimes I'm like, oh God, Robert, can't. 1 second. Okay, back in.
So I'm gonna flip it out. I'm gonna bring the knee right up into this junction again. And the feedback that you give is great, Kristen. That's the sort of stuff I'm working on with the students. And the conversation I had with Kristen recently, it was like, I train Kristen for free. I don't even charge her because I need the footage more than I need the money. I need to be able to show that a therapist can learn this stuff, use it, and make a living doing quite well.
Oh, yeah.
Right there?
Yeah.
There we go. And be able to shift things. So Kristen, in a sense, represented the challenges I have in the marketplace, because it's a very different concept to work on a mat. It's a very different concept to use your legs and feet. It's clothed. I think in many ways it's superior for therapists for pain relief purposes. And I think you have less issues of clients potentially being untoward because people are completely clothed. It puts you in a completely different space as far as, you know, what you're going to be marketing and selling, which I think is part of the problem I had with the guy who contacted me. I can read that to you later.
You know, to give you some feedback, because we haven't even talked about my situation that happened this past week. I think the only reason why I had an inappropriate Thai client was that whenever he reached out to me, I didn't realize that he had reached out to me the year before I'd actually started putting my stuff out. So he contacted me when he thought I was a table therapist or whatever, you know. I don't believe I'm going to have the issues I've had moving forward, especially as I continue to make footage. You know, I just don't see it happening.
Well, one, you're going to be so booked, you're not going to have time to take new clients.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And then you get to select, you know, what I want, and this is what I keep telling students about, you know, target market. When I lengthen better, right there, there we go. When you said the client pays me $400 a session, he's awesome. He gives me, what is it, business advice?
No, he gives me like house advice.
House advice. Like, is he involved in real estate or something?
He built and he knows I'm building.
Yeah. And the thing is, you are basically copying everything that I did in my practice.
Yep.
It was how I got clients who basically were, you know, I work on them and they're giving me stock tips.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Like business acumen, you know. Now, I'm going to change my angle just a little bit. I felt like I was straining my back, so I leaned forward on my right arm. And what I'm doing is I'm leaning with my hip, but I'm changing the angle of pressure right there.
That's crazy.
There we go. Still good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just intense. It's tight.
Gonna slowly disengage, and just like before, I'm gonna switch it out. I'm actually gonna come in from the top. Even though previous to this, what I did again was I had my legs facing the other way. I want to come in from this direction to be able to hook into posterior cervical spine. I'm really coming down into the cervical paraspinals. She already has her head like down and over. It's going to change the angle from doing it from the other side. How's that right? Ooh, right in there, Kristen.
That's very good.
Right there?
Yeah.
There we go.
Bomb, actually.
Now, a little more to the back or a little more to the front.
Right.
There we go. You tell me. Right there? There we go. I'm a little bit closer to what feels like, again, scalenus medius. And again, like her scalenes are tight like mine. Those scalenes are stability muscles for the cervical spine. When she had that cervical trauma from a whiplash, like what happens to the muscles? The muscles go, oh shit, hey, let's stabilize that, right? And if she's got overstretched ligaments in the area, it might be that the muscles are sort of compensating for it. I have limited information about that and how it works specifically, but that's generally what I see with people. Right there.
What's interesting is I normally always tell you to go back, but I think that since we've worked on, most posterior, like everything posterior up until now, I think that stuff is relaxed enough that I'm like, oh no, now go forward,
Now, a little bit more point or a little more broad.
Point.
Right there.
Yeah.
Any referred pain? Okay. This is very slow, methodical work. I've done this on a table. My last recollection of it is doing it at a chiropractor's office. And the clients were just like, Jesus Christ, I have never, oh my God, my neck like feels completely different because they've never had anybody do this before. They're just used to therapists just like running their fingers through the neck, which I think is very inadequate as far as this area is concerned. I'm gonna slowly back off again. That was the first point at the posterior cervical spine. That was the lowest portion. I'm going to bring her necklace down here so that I can come into the second spot right in the middle. How's that right there?
Hold on, my earring.
Okay.
I just take it out. I was being stabbed.
Yep. And that's the sort of thing too, like I might not feel it, but you have to create a space so the clients can communicate with you about little things like that. You got it?
Leave you.
Okay. Now, you tell me right there. Okay. Then more to the front, more to the back.
Yeah.
Now, a little bit more to the front, right there. Now, I'm really feeling a greater degree of nuance, a greater degree of like small stuff that we're getting into. Like she can feel increasing specificity as far as like what muscles I'm hitting. But it's because we've softened the superficial layers. When I came up to the door, were you just standing there or did you not?
No, I was just standing there because I thought...
You weren't sure it was the right one.
I was at 3 in it. I was thinking it was a 1.
So I'm actually getting a little tired on my right arm and like my right deltoids, like holding that spot. So I'm gonna flip around again because that was the second spot in the neck. Now I want to go up to the top, which is at the suboccipitals. Being able to do this, I'm going to come around, Gonna move my microphone to the back a little bit. You can put your earring back in if you want.
No.
You got it? Okay.
YOLO.
Then I'm gonna scoot myself up so I can get into position. Gonna prop myself. See where it's. Where are you thinking? Right there. Ho.
Yellow.
What do you think? Right there.
Yeah.
There we go. Now from there, is a little more to the back or a little bit more to the front?
Okay, whatever. Yeah.
Right there?
Yeah.
Okay, now a little more point.
Oh, fuck.
Okay. We went to oh fuck real quick. You back off of oh fuck. Go back to, hey, that's interesting, land.
Smells like hamburgers.
Don't tell anybody it's ribs.
Oh, it smells so good.
Very, very low heat for hours and hours.
You're doing? That's why the smell's increasing.
Yeah.
I was like, God, it smells freaking good in here.
Now, a little bit up or a little bit down?
Up.
A little bit up. Right there. How we doing?
Yeah.
Now, more point.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Sovereign.
Holy moly. Right there.
Yeah.
Long term, this is going to allow you guys to ask me questions live. We're going to be able to turn on the cameras as often as we want. You work with me live. Ask questions live. I demonstrate live. Work on people with problems live. Just again and again and again. There's like no end to what I can potentially do with this. Right there.
Yeah.
Oh, a little bit up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. Right. Not too sharp?
No.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
A little more to the back.
Yeah.
That way. Could be boring to look at, but I guarantee you if you're in the right spot, how does it feel, Krista?
Not boring.
Is it intense?
Oh, yeah, it's great though.
Yeah. Well, it feels like you're scratching an itch.
Yeah.
Like they had something in there you finally, got into.
In order for someone to relax this point, it's like I feel like they have to like destroy their fingers trying to do it. You know what I mean? If they don't know how to do this work.
Yeah.
Not to mention, it also like tears me up. Like this isn't traumatic to my body. It's deep and like bleeding, but it's not traumatic. I'm not sore afterwards. Like occasionally I'll get like a little sore, but it's just like my body really reacting to like releasing some shit that's been fucked up. Whereas when I get deep tissue, I feel like I'm just like bruised afterwards sometimes, most of the time.
So do you usually not feel bruised after what we do?
No. No, dude.
So what's the difference?
You have more tools. It's big and broad. It's not just a pointy ass elbow digging all around my body, you know?
Yeah. What I'll get from clients is they'll say, they're like, I have no idea how you go so deep, but you don't bruise me.
Exactly. Fucking amazing.
Now, a little bit more up,
Yeah.
a little bit more to the back,
Yeah.
right there. There we go. Ah. A little more right there.
And that slow, like you getting out of it slow is so important.
What's the difference for you?
I mean, when you're that deep, and I'm like, you know, you're in this deep point. If you were to just hop out, it would like hurt. You know, it'd be like shocking to my body.
The deeper the compressions, release more slowly, is a general rule.
You don't notice how important that is when you're just doing like regular table work. But once you start getting into this work, it's like so important.
And I'm improvising. I go into fix-it mode, right? For some reason, I wanted to do another pass of this. How are we right there?
Yeah.
There we go. Now, I have my toes backing up like this. I just did it with my left foot, then my right foot. You can see that on camera, I think, at least on the right foot. You want to have malleable, flexible ankles and feet, but you want them to be strong too. You don't want to hyperextend joints. If I have my toes bent back, like it'll start to hurt, so I'll bend them the other way. Right there, Kristen?
Yeah.
Yeah. How's the rocking?
That's good.
Good. And I'm going to change my angle again, because if I come down and over, I can still give you that, there we go, that lift and pull. How's that?
It's very good.
Now, I did not point out when we started this, because I didn't even know exactly what I was going to be doing. I had an idea. Did we do any prone?
No.
Did we do any supine?
No. All sideline, right?
Okay. If you offer a course to massage therapists and say sideline, do they get excited?
I don't know.
No.
I think they're scared.
They don't like sideline.
Sideline?
They're like the drape. The drape is all, it's like really complicated.
Not really.
Oh, shit. Oh, right there. Oh. You doing okay there?
Yeah, that hurts.
Side lying completely, as a primary position, completely revolutionizes your work when you master it.
100%.
And it's on a table. Like, you can do side lying on a table.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff that I think in some ways is best about table tie is the side lying portion. Yeah. So I'm gonna, again, back out slow. I'm gonna go, again, kind of back down to her feet. I'll be able to work on that for just a second, just to give her some space. Let like her neck and her upper back just kind of hang out for a second. She naturally just started moving it. Now, we focused on upper back and neck. Let's say you were going to do an hour session on a client, which is essentially kind of what we just did, upper back and neck for an hour, right? What do we do for the low back?
What did we do or what do we do?
What did we do?
I mean, all that twisting was low back.
Yeah, and because it does rotate into that.
Yeah.
But probably just to round out a session, and you guys can give and receive this. Don't feel shy. You guys are working with each other. Just make sure to communicate, convey what's going on. She's been on her side the whole time. Go ahead and take the pillow out. Just throw it to the side. There you go. And then just lay on your back for me.
Okay.
But be kind of in the center of the mat. There you go. And then I'm going to come in and just like rock her hips just for a second and she says, oh yeah, she knows what's coming.
She does.
And this is like, we were doing these like big broad compressions, right? So I'm going to come in and put pressure into her gluteal and just kind of jostle, sometimes I call it. Some people prefer the word rocking. I'm just rocking her lumbar spine. I want to be able to come in. She's getting cold now, see? A whole 78 degrees in here.
Is it really?
Unless the thermostat's off.
God, I freeze the shit out of my clients.
So the good thing about this is like, yeah, we're kind of addressing a portion of the body we didn't deal with. We didn't really deal with the hips. We didn't really deal with the low back too much, except for that rotation, that sort of twist through the lumbar spine. So I wanted to come in here and just sort of round out the session very, very briefly. If she was an hour client, which I never see, by the way, if she was an hour client, it would be very common for me to do something like this. If you'll notice, do you see that her shoulders and her thoracic spine and her neck are coming along for the ride? We're still softening all of that stuff. Rocking is much more gentle than compression. Compression has more oomph. Compression is like deeper. And if I can't, like, let's say I tried some of that compression and it was just like, you were like, no, I might trick you into letting your neck and upper back go by doing this. Because look at her spine, like look at her torso, the movement here. I mean, her head and neck are moving and I'm pressing down in her hip. Then I'm going to come up and over into the opposite side. Excuse me. Again, I'm going to hook right underneath the knee. And you guys at home, feel free to give and receive this. Don't feel like you're stuck to just what we're doing. This is probably the most common thing I do for people with low back pain. I start lots of sessions with this just to kind of move them around and start to see what, is going on exactly. The ball pad of my foot is posterior to the greater trochanter, and usually just a little bit superior, just a little bit above. I'm right in the gluteals. I can use the ball pad of my foot or the ball of my foot to reach over from gluteus minimus to gluteus medius to gluteus maximus all the way down towards the tailbone if I want. But I think this nice rocking just feels good to like round out what we just did. There was a lot of compression through the upper back and cervical spine, and I think this just rounds out what we were doing.
My knee just adjusted too.
On this side?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just let it go and it cracked. Yeah. So you guys go ahead and I want you to trade that out real quick. I'm gonna come down, work on our other side again, which I'm sure she's gonna hate.
I hate it. Why?
I hate that. Why does this man do this to me? Oh. Again, if you're working, you can trade out real quick just to do this, just to round out.
Yeah, I'd be mad to get this skipped over, but give it to my partner.
Yeah.
It's too good.
So next week, we are going to still be on a mat. We're still going to be working on upper back and neck. I'm not exactly certain what we're going to go into. I'm going to think about it over the course of the week. I suspect that this has gone off completely without a hitch, meaning that this has worked. I'm going to check the recording and see how it did. We might have a couple digipops if the audio is anything like it was, but seamless. I've had no major issues with the stream as far as I can tell. This is going to completely change how I'm educating you guys. We're going to have recordings in the vault, but increasingly this is what we're going to be doing, and we're going to be working with each other live. As the technology increases, and I want you to understand this in years to come, eventually, like Lupe was communicating with me, Lupe is eventually going to have her cameras up, and I'm going to be able to flip on her screen and say, Lupe, put a little more pressure on your right foot. Aha! You think it's not coming, but it is. The technology is not going to go away. We've gotten to this point. It's going to continue to grow. The interactive nature of being able to do consults with you, to be able to watch you work on people, to be able to give you advice. Like, look at it this way. I'm working with Kristen. So Lupe contacts me. She needs a private training because the client has rotator cuff problems. And I go, Lupe, basically we set up a split screen and I work on Kristen, showing her what to do and walking her through the process of working on her client. All of that interactivity is going to completely change the nature of online education in our industry. And I plan on being right out front, pushing that as far and as fast as it will go. How's that, Kristen?
Awesome.
Cool. So for the CE credit that is going to go along with this class, I'm going to make sure that this recording is available to you after the fact. Don't worry about it. You're going to be able to go into Teachable, into our usual context for the class. You're going to have access to this recording and the other 2 recordings that are coming when we work together next week. I may add some little graphic components like some anatomy, some stuff to kind of bulk up the course a little bit, just so you have some graphic, some photos of the anatomy that we're working on. So don't be concerned about accessing this again. We're going to build on what we've done today. Some of it may be repeated next week, but we're actually going to build into, using our legs and feet more into that area. This, to me, I think, for most massage therapists, they would think this is advanced upper back and neck work.
You haven't seen nothing yet.
This is the basics. The basics is already advanced compared to what a lot of therapists are doing. We're going to push past this into work that's even more, it's got more depth. It's going to give you more options. You're going to use your legs and feet more to be able to address the upper back and neck. And I want you to remember, half of what we were doing was opening up pec minor and the pec to be able to put the person in thoracic extension. We're trying to get them out of a slouch. That's what most of the clients, 80% of the clients you see with upper back and neck pain, that's what they're having problems with. The clients could not figure out, like, how did you know? And I'm like, yoga, that's how I knew. I've experimented with my own posture to the point where I understood posturally where the strain was coming from. And then I was using my Thai massage practice to induce it in the clients as like quickly as possible. So I'll see you guys next week, 5:30 p.m. CST. We'll be here and ready to work. If you have any questions for me, please go to the private Facebook group, the Reboot Insiders Club. Go ahead and write me. Feel free to give the other people in the group information about the live stream and what you learned today. I want to be able to encourage our subscribers to come in and do this. This is free to you. It's included with your subscription this time. So I want to be able to get more of them in. I think we had about 7 today. I'll see you guys again soon. And again, if you have any feedback for me, feel free to go ahead and contact me. But I will see you guys next week. You guys have a good one. Thank you so much for tuning in and working with us. I really, really appreciate it.
That was awesome.